So if we just cut to the chase and look at year 42 of this old 10-pay policy, you can see that it ended up with $637,000 of cash value, $702,000 of death benefit. Now, what's interesting is our policy at today's dividend rates, which, by the way, are much lower than that 1980s policy. The 1980s policy, the dividend rate originally illustrated at 8.27%. Ours is at 5.75%, and yet we end up with $702,000 of cash value. Now, that number probably sounds familiar to you. If you remember, that wasn't the cash value amount of what was originally illustrated in the old 1980s policy. That was the death benefit, which always has to be greater than the cash value in order for it to qualify as life insurance and retain all of its tax benefits. So that's how much cash value we have. We actually have $775,000. Now, who knows? One thing for sure we all know about every illustration you can ever see is for sure they will all be wrong. Why? Because we're showing one steady dividend rate for perpetuity, and interest rates, dividend rates ebb and flow over time. We know this to be true. No illustration has ever been exactly the same with a participating whole life policy with fluctuating dividends. Just hasn't happened. So what happened in that old 1980s policy where they illustrated to have a lot less cash value, 637? Well, they ended up with 1.194 million of cash value, or 87% more cash value than what was originally illustrated, with an 8.27% dividend. And if you remember from the old study, by the time you got from 1980 to the year 2000, it was already back. It had spiked up for a while and trended back down. It was already back to 8.3% dividend, almost the same exact dividend. And from the year 2002 on, as you probably remember in your own experience, interest rates kept falling, and therefore so did dividends. And they fell from 8.3 all the way to 6, which is where this current company has their dividend at right now. So pretty profound, right? We're starting with a lower dividend rate, and yet we end up with more cash value. And that's simply because of a leaner, meaner base policy and better design techniques.